Good evening. 40 years ago this month, a Glasgow-based crime drama called Killer aired on STV and across the ITV network. Viewers loved it, and a full series was soon commissioned under the name of its central character, Taggart. It was to become one of the world's longest-running police dramas with a rich, evolving cast of characters. Tonight, we're celebrating the Scottish TV phenomenon and reuniting many of its stars. First, let's return to 1983 and remember how we were first introduced to an old-school detective with a sarcastic wit.
Taggart. Morning.
Strangulation, sir. Jogger found it earlier this morning. 5 minutes past 7.
Bit cold for that.
Aye, but we've had 3 past here since then. Down here, sir.
Morning, sir.
Who are you?
Detective Sergeant Livingston, sir. I just got here myself.
All right, thanks.
Strangulation for the ligature.
We don't have ligatures in Maryhill.
Well, to reflect on the genesis of Taggart, we brought together its writer and creator, Glenn Chandler, and the show's original producer, Robert Love, a former head of drama at STV. Robert, so it must have been, a really big deal to have a crime drama set in Glasgow in 1983. Why did you think it would work?
Well, it was we had to crash into the network with something that they couldn't refuse. And I thought maybe a crime drama based in a rather exotic place like Glasgow might work very well. So, the rest is history, I suppose.
And you don't get much more exotic than Glasgow, do you? And Glenn, what were you hoping to achieve with these first scripts that you wrote?
I was just trying to get on in life. I'd never written anything as big as this. I'd written a few half-hour plays for series for Robert. And no, he took me out to, we met in London one night, and he took me out, he took me to a pub, and then he took me to a tea shop where we had cream cakes and things. Then we went to another pub. I thought, what's going on here? Then he took me for a meal, went to a nice restaurant in Covent Garden, and he said, would you like to write a Glasgow detective series in 3 parts? And I said, yes, please, thank you very much. I think he was trying to get me well-oiled. I think he was afraid I might say no.
But you jumped at it, obviously.
I jumped at it, yes.
And how well do you think did Mark McManus fit the character of Taggart that you had created?
He fitted it perfectly. I knew Mark from, he'd been in The Brothers, which was a favourite cult series of mine. And I had his face and voice in mind as I was writing it. And I thought, no, they won't get him, they'll get somebody else. But lo and behold, Mark said yes. And I think he read the script going down to King's Cross on the train. And he phoned up you when he got there and said, don't give this to anybody else, I'll come up and kill you.
Oh.
Or something like that. Something like that.
And nobody else was ever considered for the part. No. That's the point, that he was our first choice.
That's so interesting. And, to think that you did have his face in mind when you were writing it. And, of course, Mark McManus, sadly died. But the show carried on and went from strength to strength. Quite unusual for a show to carry on after its main character.
Yeah, especially when he was the eponymous hero. And the network said to me, yeah, you can do 2 more. Are you going to replace him? And I said, no, I'm going to give James and Blythe the chance to play the leads. And they said, well, that's fine, but if the ratings slump, that'll be the end of it. Of course, the ratings didn't slump. They went from strength to strength. And so who would have guessed that we would carry on for another 15 years or so?
Yeah, it is remarkable. And how was it for you carrying on writing the scripts then with Mark gone? Because it entered another era, didn't it?
It did. It was difficult. We missed Mark terribly, but it was an opportunity to build up the other characters, to concentrate on maybe the kind of storylines that Mark wouldn't have been in. It was a strange feeling. We tried to keep it. Well, it made it fresh and original as well. And I think we succeeded.
Yes, we refreshed it by bringing in new characters from time to time. First of all, Blythe, and then Colin came in just as Mark died, and then later on John came in to give it a bit of sex appeal.
It did. It kept evolving. Yes. And how important a character almost was the city of Glasgow when you were writing it?
Oh, it was huge. I didn't know Glasgow at all. I was an Edinburgh public school boy, and I had to give myself a crash course in Glasgow. So I was looking at Glasgow through perhaps different kinds of eyes than someone who had been brought up in the city. And I spent many nights sitting in Glasgow pubs just listening to conversations and talking to people. And they knew instantly I was from Edinburgh because...
Oh, well, it's been so lovely to hear you talking about it. Thank you both so much for joining us this evening.
Okay.
Time now to take a trip down memory lane and remember some of what made Taggart so special.
Taggart? A what? Get your skates on, Peter. We've got a severed leg near the Erskine Bridge.
Human?
No, the kind you put mint sauce on.
In 1983, Detective Chief Inspector Jim Taggart hit our screens.
Is your brother about?
We're being visited.
They were the angels. I'm God.
Taggart was abrasive, tough, and had a no-nonsense attitude, and fans couldn't get enough.
What's this? A Boy Scout jamboree. The last person that did that near me wore his ball's head for earrings. Shite. That's vital evidence.
Taggart was a gritty whodunit set amongst the cold, grey streets of Glasgow.
Where's your place?
I've rented a flat in Hill Head. You could drop me off.
You want to get to know Glasgow, my green city? Walk.
A dustman. His name's Stuart Barber.
Should have been Humpty Dumpty.
I must admit I had quite a job finding which bit belonged where. Quite a puzzle, Jim.
Maryhill's CID characters quickly became household names.
Who's the new boy?
It's Mike Jarden.
He's used an industrial binder. Common as muck.
Excuse me, sir.
Well, I'm sorry, WPC Reid has attached us for a while. What pearl of wisdom have you got to tell us?
Well, maybe it's nothing, but maybe the tape was used to nick the Cavalier, in through the window.
Why didn't you think of that, Michael?
What is the secret ingredient of Taggart then, apart from your good self?
I think it might be the fact that it's a whodunit, and the audience really do want to know who done it at the end.
The show produced an unforgettable catchphrase, although DCI Taggart never actually said it himself.
There's been a murder. I live with murder, Mrs. Patterson. It's ugly. It's cold.
In 1994, Mark McManus, who played the title character so well, sadly died.
It was a lovely service, wasn't it?
He went to plenty of funerals, but mainly to look at the faces.
There were plenty to recognise today.
There was quite a few villains, people that he'd put away.
Really?
It wasn't just his friends that respected him.
It's funny, all the time he put his life in danger, all the risks he took. And he should just go in his sleep.
The series continued for 16 years, and rather than replacing the tough-talking chief, Michael Jarden became the show's leading man.
Find out, Jackie. Find out why she told those lies. Who put her up to it?
As a new era of Taggart began, new characters emerged.
He was blackmailing me because I'm gay. He was going to come round here and tell you all about it. And so now I've told you.
You must be DS Reid.
That's right. Jackie.
Robbie Ross.
And who the hell's DCI Buck?
I am.
And then in 2002, Matt Burke entered the scene.
Somebody wanted Johnny Innes taken out. It wasn't some tree-hugging muesli muncher with a sniper's rifle.
Let me remind you, Inspector, I'm still your superior officer. Superiors are supposed to earn my respect.
Stop! Police!
It was locked until you took Jamie Revian.
Thank you, Miss Marple. Right, get the computer dusted, see what that gives us.
Health King.
The series was a vital rite of passage for Scottish production and acting talent. Taggart has been shown across 80 countries.
Vous vous êtes mis en grande tenue pour faire votre autopsie, Stéphane.
Vous devriez vous protéger aussi, Jim.
What began as a one-off drama had a staggering 27-season run.
Off home? Aye. Off home. Perhaps we should all have dinner together like the old days.
So many memories there. Well, we can't have a celebration without some of the show's stars from over the years. 5 of them joined us to reminisce. So, Blythe Duff, you were part of it for 20 years and spanned, you know, the 3 eras. I mean, it's been a huge part of your life, Taggart, hasn't it?
It was actually 21 years. But I'm not going to pull you up about it, it's fine. But it was a huge part of my life and an amazing part of my life that it still affords me a lifestyle now to go back and work in the theatre that it wouldn't have happened if Taggart hadn't been there. And I learned so much, actually, on location and on, you know, just all those. And James was brilliant at just sort of allowing me to learn my craft.
Yeah. And Alex Norton, thank you so much for joining us from France. Bonjour, lovely to have you with us.
Bonjour, Alex, il a une montre.
Now, you've played DCI Burke for the best part of a decade. Was it a dream role for you?
Oh, I remember. I mean, it was kind of talked about, you know, I was in discussion about it. But I thought, I'm not going to count my chickens before they hatch. And when I found out that it was definite that I was doing it, my wife and I just danced around the kitchen. We actually grabbed each other and danced. And just we walked around the kitchen, very energetic. It was fabulous. It was a great break.
Fantastic. And James McPherson, you played Mike Jardine and you served under Taggart and then you became the boss yourself. What was it like to be a part of?
It was life-changing. Yeah, it is going to change your life if you're in a long series like this. Mine was a 12-week job that lasted for 15 years. So you don't plan on that happening, and it was in the city that I lived. So it was the best job on the planet.
Fantastic. And John Meekey, Robert Lourdes has been saying to me that you brought the sex appeal. You brought the sex appeal.
Who said that?
Robert was just saying that to me.
Nonsense. That was me. Well, maybe used to.
But what was it like joining such a, you know, it was like an institution almost, wasn't it?
Well, it was the biggest show in Scotland, wasn't it? And to come back to Scotland to be in Taggart was, well, like James says, it's life-changing. And if you're an actor and you get into a long-running show, that is going to change your life because you're going to be earning some decent money for once in your life. Because a lot of the time we don't.
Yeah. And is it difficult kind of joining a cast that's well established?
It's a bit intimidating. Yeah, it is. And it's just the whole show because it was like, you know, it's such a big thing. Mm-hmm. But my first scenes were with Colin, so he was...
I think, well, one of the nice things is that you kind of joined this series knowing what it does, what it sends out, you know, and I think that happened for all of us. So we kind of could watch Taggart, even when Alex was in it and as the butcher, we could watch Taggart and go, oh, this is the kind of programme it is. It's a whodunit. So once you actually join the series, you kind of know you're joining something that's quite big, that's got, you know, it's got an appeal already there and an audience. And so you have to hope that the audience take to your character. And I think that's what we all felt.
And Colin McGrady, you were just 22 when you started playing the character of Stuart Fraser. And you've acted with all of these guys.
Yeah, I was actually in primary school when the show started. Primary 7.
And you were in it when you were 13,
yeah. So I'd grown up with the show, and then obviously I went to drama school, and you know, Taggart was always this thing that you thought as an actor or a prospective actor coming out of drama school, I might get a wee part in that, I might get one episode, I might be the killer even. So you always thought, one of my ambitions was to just be in Taggart, so it was really weird to then end up within maybe a year and a half out of drama school being like a regular character in it. and being like in it every day. So it was, again, like James was saying, it was great being able to go to your work and to learn about the art of filmmaking and to be in front of a camera every day for like weeks at a time. It was living in Scotland. It was the best job going, and you didn't have to travel very far away. Maybe just Cumbernauld occasionally.
and was that a happy set? Was it a happy place to work, Alex? Is that your memory of it?
Very much so. I mean, you know, like John was saying, you've got a bit of trepidation when you join something like that, an institution like Taggart. And I wondered what the response would be to the new boy. And it really could not have been nicer. They couldn't have been more welcoming. And they just made life very easy for me. And I was really, really nervous in the first month. And when it went out, John took me around, invited me around to his flat to watch it when it was actually transmitted. And Colin was there. And it was like watching Doctor Who when I was a wee boy. I was kind of hiding behind the couch.
Yeah, he was.
He was looking for the drink.
Hiding behind.
I get a real sense of the camaraderie amongst you all. I mean, I
think what happened was that Mark set the tone for that. He was extraordinary in the way that he would embrace every actor that would come on. He would make them feel really comfortable. And I think that's what we all felt, that we would all share the same Winnie, so we all felt like as if we were part of
it. I think sharing the same.
We also wanted
trailer,
we wanted it to be attractive to other guest stars. So you wanted, you know, the really big names to come and do Taggart, and they did that. And you wanted them to go away and say, "Hey, I had a great 8 weeks up in Scotland doing Taggart. You should do it."
And that was their experience then. They liked coming into the fold.
I think it was. I remember, there was actors that you'd grown up watching on telly, whether it was Porridge or whether it was Day of the Triffids, and then there was like Scottish people like Una McLean would come, or Glenn Michael, and there was all these people that you'd grown up watching as a child, and then you suddenly found 10 years later you were acting with them. And as James says, it was great. And the majority of these actors, especially ones that came up from down, they were all brilliant, and they all had a really good laugh.
It's like, for me, it was I am in the same wagon as Barbara Dixon, and she's talking to me as if I'm a normal person.
That was also really. There was a point where we had a lot of different people who were in bands, and you would walk about going January, February. Oh, I need to stop singing that. And then we had Lorraine from Deacon Blue, Dignity. We had Fish, Kaylee, and we had Claire Grogan. And so you were going, happy birthday. So you were going to have to stop singing the songs now, that's it. But it was great fun.
And so what was it like then when you obviously filmed a lot, on the streets of Glasgow. You were well-kent faces. I mean, what was that like, Alex? Was it a bit nerve-wracking at times?
Well, it wasn't nerve-wracking. I mean, it could be kind of annoying because every other person that passed by the filming would go, "Oh, Taggart, there's been a murder." And you had to start again. You had to start the take again. But other than that, it was great. I mean, people did come up between takes and say, "Oh, I love your show. It's great. Best show, on the telly." So that was very nice. But Blythe, I'm going to put you in this spot because I tell one of your stories. I credit it to you, but it's one of the funniest stories about Taggart, about the woman coming up and asking you what you were filming. Was it outside Central Station? You know the one I mean? The story I mean?
It was outside Central Station, and the lady came up and said, "What is it you're doing?" And we said, "Oh, it's Taggart." "Oh, is it a repeat?" And we were all thinking, but I think everybody claims that's their story. It's a wee bit like when they were at Celtic Park and Anoni came on and it was, "Oh, no, Anoni, on and on." And I was there. I was standing next to the person who said that. But I definitely was there when that lady asked us, and I thought, I just want to kiss you. You're fantastic. But is it a repeat? Straight face.
That is absolutely... that's brilliant. Do you have stories about filming out and about? Did you enjoy... meeting the public?
Oh, yeah, it was. I'll never forget the time that we had to do a quick change in the Winnie, and I ran in and accidentally put on half of Blythe's clothes. But didn't realise until the end of the day when Angela Robertson was in it, wardrobe said, "You got pop socks on. You got a funny vest." I said, "Will you put them out for me?" "No, they were Blythe's. We've been looking for them all day."
So he liked a pop sock by the end of it. We only found this out today that he quite liked a pop sock. So the things you find out.
It was the earrings that were the giveaway, wasn't it?
And we've talked a little bit about how people wanted to appear in it, but it's so well loved, and you still feel that love. I mean, you're obviously all still recognised, aren't you?
Not so much.
Not quite. No, I'm not.
Right?
Since I've embraced the grey and gone a wee bit short, I've probably had about 5 years since COVID where folk really don't know me, and it's been quite a luxury, actually. I've quite enjoyed that. But
it's quite a difficult thing to put the genie back in the bottle, as I say.
Yeah.
And it's very occasionally somebody will go, did I not go to school with you? And usually I go, yeah, you probably did. Cheers.
And I mean, do you wish it could have continued, or did you think its time would come? I mean, how did you all feel when it came to a close?
I think every time we would start a Taggart, we'd go, this is the last Taggart. And we always said that.
Every year we said that.
Every year. And we go, I've heard this is the last Taggart. Yeah, so have I. Because, we had to treat it like that. We got such a lucky run at it. And I think that we never ever felt that we would have it for the next year. So we treated each one as a special moment. We had new directors every time, we had new writers, so therefore we had that kind of turnover of talent who were coming on, and an amazing crew. So, we just all hoped that it would continue to be sent out in the right way, and it was.
And it did keep changing. There were new characters and it kept evolving. And do you think that was maybe the secret of its enduring success and popularity, Alex?
I think it was part of it, certainly, yeah. It kept it fresh. And that's something you have to be aware of. But just what Brad was saying about, we're all expecting each year to be the last one. I don't know about the rest of you, but if any of you had a phone call yet or a letter saying Taggart's finished, because I haven't.
Fantastic! I think my bank manager has.
Alex, we've been doing it for the past 10 years, didn't they tell you?
I'm hovering by the phone every day, waiting for it to ring to say, OK, we're going again.
I mean, what do you think the secret of its success was, James and John?
Well, I mean, definitely the city of Glasgow has a huge part to play, and Glaswegian people, I mean, kind of just so kind of alive, funny, just funny. And I mean, although obviously it's a serious subject matter, we all had such a laugh outside of it. So that all the crew and all of us, we all got on really well together, had a really good time. And then, of course, there's the whodunit. I mean, people just love a whodunit, don't they?
Although we were in it all the time, it wasn't about us, which is really quite important.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's not a soap. Therefore, you were lucky if you had a girlfriend in it once or something like that, or you had a husband, my goodness. So the strength was the stories. Always back to the stories that were really well written, all the way through. And you got to thank Glenn Chandler for that.
Yeah.
He had a sense of the macabre.
Well, some of them were...
Glenn always
really
had animals and really unusual... we had snakes, we had locusts, we had dogs, we had, everything. We had poison arrow frogs. And,
teddy bears, stiff teddy bears as well. It was his interest for that year. He would write a Taggart about it.
So also dolls that the eyes would light up, and people remember those moments. They go, there was one with this wee dolly in a chair, and it was in the middle of the road, and it was Hannah Gordon running in the rain.
So many memorable episodes. We will have to leave it there. But thank you so much, all of you, for joining us on this Scotland Tonight special. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you.
And that's all from this Scotland Tonight special. Every long-running TV drama has had its fair share of funny bloopers, and Taggart was no exception. Here's one last thing.
Let me stake my fellow actresses on fire.
Have you kept that so it's all right on the night?
Until some punter stuck a knife in her. I never bothered after that. I never found the killer.
Sorry, it's a big boss.
Was there anything in Tomna's accounts?
Fanny Adams. Sorry.
What the hell did I say that for?